Lovely to see you, Carmen. And I
You
know it's
too.
been a bit of a false start today, but this is why we need help. This is why we need a team to help us because sometimes things go wrong. But thank you so much for taking the time to speak to Business Elevator members. We've got a real varied audience in the Business Elevator, and but many of them are, actually I should say everybody is always so busy, and part of
Mm,
what we're really wanting to do is free up some time so that they have more time to work on their business instead of in their business.
yes.
So I was really keen to talk to you, Carmen, because global teams is a really fascinating concept. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about you and global teams.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks so much, Josephine. So I agree. Business, it can be really full on, and I'm really committed to, working hard, but also having fun as well. And I think that getting support is not only beneficial, but I think it's also necessary to really kick butt in business and have a really big impact. So I don't know if it's just an Australian thing, but sometimes we just think we should do it all ourselves. And I think if we get stuck in that idea, that it's really going to limit our business growth. So with that in mind, my business partner and I, we just developed our own virtual team, support us with marketing and getting the word out there, and getting clients in and supporting them. And we were doing that in a business all around communication, and then we just accidentally started a virtual assistant company.
How do you accidentally start a company like that?
Well, so one of our clients said to us, "Hey, you know how your virtual team are working? Like, I've tried virtual assistants before and it didn't work. Can you help me?" And so often in business, I think some of the skill in business is saying no to things. So Maureen and I were very like, "Oh, should we say yes? If we say yes, it's going to distract us." Anyway, we eventually said yes, and we did it, and it worked. And then we had more clients ask us. And eventually it got just a bit ridiculous, the number of requests we were getting. So Maureen and I looked at each other and said, let's actually do this for real. So then Global Teams was born.
Okay. And when did that start for real? When did you start Global Teams?
Yeah, so it started, we've been working together for about 2 years. So it was, a progression from the start then. And it's been growing really rapidly. And I think, there's a lot of virtual assistant companies out there, and we're not for everyone. And I think our point of difference is that, commitment to relationships and communication, and, just the reality that everyone's just people, and you need to invest in those relationships.
I agree. I think, I've worked with virtual assistant organizations, sort of agencies before, and also individual virtual assistants. And I think it is that it's actually forming a relationship with someone that you can trust, because as you said, there's a need to really sort of not do it all yourself. So you need to delegate, but you need to be able to delegate to people that you trust. And so really finding and recruiting the right people to be part of your team is important. How do you make sure that you have the right people in your team from in that virtual assistant pool?
Yes, I think it's a really good question. So business owners, they often come to us thinking they want one thing. And so in our process, we spend quite a lot of time getting inside their head, talking to them about their business model, and just working out what exactly do they need. And that is often different to what they think they need. So for the first thing is actually scoping the role right. And that can be easier said than done sometimes for people. And then, finding the virtual assistant is that's like the equivalent to like the marriage. It's like, but what about the wedding, but what about the whole marriage? So it's about, that's where we really specialize in. Yeah, fine, we can find you someone to marry, but let's get the marriage working, and the communication and the relationship. And, with all relationships, they merge and they change. So, let's support you through that process as well.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I think also because you're working with a pool of people that I imagine are global. They're your pool are in a global space, and you can provide that, I guess, that point for the business owner. Because what I find too, just as from my experience in the past, is I might work with a number of different people across, you know, time zones, but I need to have that one person who helps me support them. So can you tell me a little bit about, Carmen, about how you do that in global teams? How do you
Yeah.
support your people?
Yeah, so I think the support is twofold. So it's a support for the business owners and also support for the virtual assistants. So for the business owners, it's around, okay, getting clear on what you need to delegate. Sometimes managing their expectations about what might be possible or how quickly it might be done. And it's supporting communication and delegation. And what systems are you going to use to communicate? You know, all those good things. And, you know, and then we chuck a bit of LinkedIn strategy and all sorts of fun stuff there. With the virtual assistants, they, you know, how do you tell your business owner that you've got a better way to do something? How do you say to them, Carmen, you told me to put this video up on Thursday. You haven't even given it to me to edit yet. Like, how do you say that? How do you say, actually, I've got more on than I can handle at the moment. You know, these priorities yours. So it's about supporting them with the communication, but also the tools again. So maybe I do ask you to do something weird, but who else in the team has, you know, done TikTok videos before? You know, who can I speak to? So it's like that practical support, the communication support, and then also the community, which I know is what you specialize in for business owners, but the community for virtual assistants. It's like, you know, they're working usually, you know, it can be quite isolating. How do we get, you know, a bit of laughter, a bit of fun and support? There's all different layers of how we help the business owners and the virtual assistants.
That's fantastic. I really love this model because it does actually feel like it's a really good model for the, you know, for the people being recruited, for the virtual assistants and for the business owners themselves. You were earlier, you were saying that business owners sometimes don't know what they need, or they think they know, they think they need one thing, but it's actually another thing. What are some of the challenges that you think business owners could use a virtual assistant to help them with? Because sometimes I think it's probably even things they haven't thought about yet.
Yeah, it's a really good question because, like, it's the number one thing we get asked, what can a virtual assistant do?
Yeah.
So Maureen, my business partner, has actually written a book about that, to just trigger ideas. And there's so much they can do because you think about it, these people, virtual assistants are most of the time, you know, tertiary educated, highly intelligent. Obviously, there's this range of skill sets. So you just think, well, what do I need help with in my business? Let's start with that. And then I can talk to you about whether it's possible, or, you know, maybe we can expand your ideas of what's possible as well. So the general things that we get asked for is support with social media marketing. So Carmen, I want to put myself out there on social media. It just takes so much time. I just need someone to help me with it. You know, edit my videos, do stuff in Canva, send messages on LinkedIn, just make sure I'm everywhere. So that's one very common thing we get asked for. Another one is, and that's usually for businesses that are, you know, more at the startup phase. And then we have the more established businesses which just go, Carmen, I'm just so busy and overloaded. I just need someone to help me to just work out what to focus on. Need them to manage my email, you know, book appointments. I need them to tell me like what I need to look at that day, and just organize me, make me think less. So that's like another common thing we get asked for. But then there's everything in between, you know, customer service for my company, you know, answering inbound calls, or it might be, you know, high-end video editor, or, you know, an accountant. Like, there's all sorts of random ones as well.
Exactly. And I love your Maureen's ebook, by the way. I actually put it in the link below so people can have a look at it and download it from your website. And some of the things that, for example, I was thinking about there are some of the things I hadn't even thought about, for example, and it goes into it in the book in relation to, for example, things you can do on LinkedIn that you're not doing right now. And it makes me think about some of the ways in which having a virtual assistant can actually grow your business. So have you had that experience? Have you had people, you know, in your client pool experience that because they've got this person on their team, they're able to do a lot more, they're able to maybe generate more leads? Can you tell me a little bit about your experience around that?
Yeah, so I'll answer that, but first, could I just talk about LinkedIn? So if
Yeah, yeah,
anyone
do.
watching is doing B2B, they can serve at least the state,
Yep.
and of a deal value of a few thousand or more, you are crazy if you're not on LinkedIn. Get
Mm-hmm.
get get the book, do the stuff either yourself if you need to, or hire someone to do it. Like you're just bonkers if you're not using it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get off my LinkedIn high horse now. So yes, so what I find is virtual assistants support business owners to grow their businesses. So they do that in two ways. One is that they do marketing activities or activities that the business owner knows that should be done, but they just never get around to it.
Mm-mm.
So they can do those things that the business owner knows that are valuable and just like makes it happen.
Yeah.
And the other way they can do it is that they can take the load of the business owner. So just say you can organise your own meeting, or you can get the lovely Jonathan, your VA, to do it. And, if the meeting needs to be changed, Jonathan will change it. And
Yeah.
then the meeting magically appears in your diary. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but if I'm saving just say like 5 minutes from like doing emails back and forth to do that meeting, that means I can daydream or create my next thing or,
Yeah.
do that strategic stuff or
Yeah.
have that discussion you need to have. So it allows you as a business owner to do higher, I guess, I don't know, value things or things
Mm-mm.
that only you can be doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree. I think that there are some things that we can relinquish control of. Do you find that a lot of your clients have trouble there in terms of just relinquishing control because they're
Yeah, so
so used
yeah.
to doing everything?
Yeah, so definitely it is something that comes up for some
Mm.
people. And what I like to do is, so my background's risk management. So what I like to do is I like to talk to them about having controls in place.
Mm.
So for
Yeah.
example, at the moment with my content, my team pretty much know what I like, and they have almost free reign. Things go out without me seeing it. But the
Mm.
thing is, if you're a bit nervous and you want control and you don't know if your virtual assistant understands what you want yet,
Mm.
then
Mm.
let's have controls in place. How about you review the content before it goes out?
Yeah.
So it's all about, managing that risk. And so what happens is at the start, I say to business owners, great, so they can do the video editing, maybe you want to
Yep.
review it, and then it goes out. And then over time, you grow confident in the virtual assistant, and the
Mm.
virtual
Mm.
assistant starts to understand what you want, and then you might go, actually, that step isn't necessary anymore. So there's ways around it,
Yeah.
but you can create those structures. But if, releasing control is a problem that you have, you're going to need to feel uncomfortable and do it anyway if you
Yes.
want to grow your business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, for sure. And Carmen, I really like your business model because it focuses on having a member join your team, and I
Mm.
like that because sometimes people think of contractors or virtual assistants as not part of their team, but they are part of your team,
Yeah.
and your model is sort of predicated on getting someone on part-time or full-time. Can you tell us a
Mm.
little bit about that, about your model and
Yeah,
why
yeah,
you've maybe
beautiful.
come to that as well?
Yeah. Look, I think there's different ways in which you can engage a virtual assistant. So you can engage them in doing a role within your business, which is what
Mm-mm.
we specialise in. And you can also engage them to do like project-based things. Now, project-based things has a role. You can get someone to
Yeah.
edit one video, and you can go to Upwork. It's a great place to find people, but it's not very leveraged as a business owner. So there
Yeah.
might be cases where you do that. And I know there's cases where my virtual assistants do that for their business owners to, the project-based
Awesome.
things.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the most leveraged thing is having someone in your team who knows that Carmen likes her
Absolutely.
videos edited like this, and then they're not only going to edit the video, but they're going to put it on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and then they're going to do this, and then they're going to do this, and that they've got this knowledge about me, this
Yeah.
relationship with me, and I just know that that happens, whether I am dreaming about my next new and exciting thing, or I'm on holidays, and it just
Yeah.
happens. So the reason we've gone with that like business model is because that's
Mm,
what worked for us, and I think it's the most leveraged position for a business owner to
mm,
be.
mm, mm. Yeah, fantastic. And in your particularly, in your experience with your own business,
what's the difference that it's made for you, just in terms of your business, having the right person, that virtual assistant or a team of virtual assistants?
So a lot of people think I'm crazy. So I walked into my perfectly good job in strategic planning in healthcare, and I quit that day. I negotiated to leave at lunchtime, had to go back for my farewell. Now, a little bit of background, I'm a single mum with 2 kids and a mortgage. So, like, I think my family thought I was insane. But and I just had this assumption when I started in business that people are just going to find me. They're just going to know that I was going to be good. Surprise, surprise, that didn't happen. So I quickly learned that I needed to put myself out there for people to find me. And LinkedIn was my primary platform. That's why I'm so in love with it. So,
and that's where we connected too, by the way, on LinkedIn.
So I did it all myself for about a week, and then I thought, this is ridiculous. I need to be doing other things. I need to be calling CEOs and getting someone else to do my LinkedIn. So I paid for a LinkedIn for a virtual assistant to do that, even when I didn't have any money. Like, that was like my, apart from food, my number one priority in terms of investment of money, because I knew that I couldn't grow my business without that support. So I jumped on the VA bandwagon very early on. Then it becomes addictive, because if you're an ideas person, which you probably are if you're in business, come up with ideas and you have a team that's able to implement it.
Perfect.
It's so powerful for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I love that, because I think that particularly something like LinkedIn, and to be clear, you're not talking about LinkedIn advertising, you're talking about actually using LinkedIn in a kind of manual way, posting, connecting, that kind of thing. And so that does take time. Yeah.
So I'm talking about your personal profile. I have tinkered with LinkedIn advertising, but that's not the game changer that I'm talking about here. I think for, everyone talks about, digital marketing and paid ads, and, that is an area at the moment that I am spending a lot of time learning. And I think that's fantastic. But you need to be quite mature in terms of your web pages and landing pages and all sorts of stuff. Whereas LinkedIn, you can just get cracking on it today.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. That's really, and it is all about forming those relationships and then tracking those relationships, and having help with that is really important. So I to tell you the truth, I have just started using LinkedIn in that way with a virtual assistant too. And so I'm with you. I'm with you. It really, because there's no way I can do it on my own, because it is very time consuming. So fantastic.
And I think in my first 6 months I got a call, and long story short, after a few discussions, it was like a $60,000 contract, and this was like in my first 6 months of business, and they found me on LinkedIn.
Yes. There you go. So that's a testimony to that. Oh, well, fantastic, Carmen. So before we go, is there anything else that maybe we haven't talked about today that you think people need to know about you or global teams or using virtual assistants?
I guess just my, philosophy around, you've got one life, you just got to live it and do it your way, and think creatively about that. So, you might have ideas about what you should be doing or how things should be, just make it, do what you need to do to have that impact you want to have in the world. So,
fantastic. Make it happen. Well, thank you, Carmen. Now, how can people find you if they want to know more about global teams?
Yeah, beautiful. Well, globalteams.com.au is a great place to start. If you want to, connect with me on LinkedIn, you can find me there as well, and then we can be LinkedIn buddies.
Great. And as I said, the link to the ebook is in the comments. I recommend everybody has a look at it too. It's a great. By the way, how long did that take for Maureen to pull that together? There's so much information there, but it's easy to read at the same time.
I'm not sure how long it took her, but it took her a considerable amount of time. And then we got Edmund, it took him a couple of days to put it, pretty it up.
Right.
And then Tim put the landing page up. So it's like, team
project. Fantastic.
Yeah, and then my job is to talk about it and send it out to people.
Fabulous. Which is what you do well.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Carmen. I really appreciate the time, and I'm sure that we'll get some people asking you some questions. So we'll direct them to your LinkedIn and your website. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right,
you so
have
much.
a beautiful day. Thanks,
You
Carmen.
too.
Bye.
Thanks.